So this is our last call. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it valuable as far as like the challenges were concerned, all the information. I hope it wasn't like too overwhelming in regards to the information that I sent out. I wanted to kind of take some time to go over just some of the questions that were on the initial intake forms, just things that people wanted to make sure that they learned throughout the 21 days, and see if I can get some of those questions answered a little bit better. I'm recording this, so I'm sure other people will be watching this afterwards. That seems to be the way it goes. Well, first of all, let me award prizes. So Kristen, congratulations, you got the Lululemon card this week.
Yay. That's exciting because CJ won it, and now there's a Lululemon outlet by us, so we're gonna go shopping.
Oh, perfect. Yes, is that like the one in Burlington?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I think so. My birthday's in like a few weeks, and I think my boyfriend and I are gonna head out that way because it's always fun to go to the Lululemon outlet.
Oh, do you like their clothing for CrossFit?
I do.
Okay.
I do. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Cool.
Super comfy. I got a pair of their like joggers yesterday, and it's just so soft. Anyways, and then CJ, congratulations, like you won the grand prize.
What?
Yeah.
How does that work? I don't feel like I ever win anything.
Well, you did, because you like did all the things. You scheduled your call, you got your pictures in, you got your measurements in, you filled out the whole sheet, and you participated throughout the challenge. So as far as like things that I like qualify winners based off of its participation more so than anything else, and just kind of making sure that all forms are filled out. So congratulations. We can talk more about that tomorrow in our call. But
that's awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. So it's good you guys like showed up for the call.
Yeah.
Otherwise it would have been like, all right, they're not here, but
but they get the prize. Well, very cool. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. So as far as like some questions that people had, I had, well, first of all, do you guys have anything that you want to share about kind of things that you learned during the challenge, things that you found beneficial, things that you struggled with, anything, that you had come up along these like 21 days?
I don't think, for me, like when I look at like the measurements and, that like there wasn't like great changes, but I don't think I would expect to see that in like 21 days. And so I think like my biggest thing is just, continuing it going so that I can see, progress or whatever that progress is going to look like for me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, that's more maybe what we can learn about tomorrow or touch base about like what I need to be fine tuning to start to see progress somewhere. But I'm definitely like a visual person and I know that, you're changing things for like a healthier lifestyle and, things like that. But it's like that long term to actually like physically see the, like the rewards, whether that's in numbers or, like energy levels or, like less neck acne that I'm getting right now. I don't know what's up with that, but
yeah, I mean, it like all those things are signs of change, and like non-scale victories are just as valuable as like scale victories, and clothes fitting differently, like less inflammation, like less acne, like detox processes moving better, sleep being better, like those are all things that are victories in the pursuit of health. So when we look at change over time, like 21 days isn't a long period. Like we don't expect a lot to occur in 21 days. Like really we're just kind of getting the groundwork. So when we do see things start to change, it's like, whoa, that's cool, like awesome, things are starting to change. But it really is that long period of time where we see the sustainable changes. Because like people can cut a lot of calories and drop a lot of weight really quickly, but then they can also gain it back just as quickly and
Mhm.
plus some. So, you know, in the grand scheme of things, when we're working to pursue health and create a sustainable health goal, we don't want things to be rapid. We want things to be sustainably changed. So, seeing change is great, but it doesn't have to be like, oh, I lost 20 pounds in 21 days. Like, that's just not real. Like,
Yeah.
so, perfect. Well, that's good. Anybody else want to share anything? It's okay if you don't. I'll go
I
into.
was
What was that?
I was gonna say, I absolutely love the sleep aspect of the whole thing. Like, it's like, I know I was talking with Jen about this or this week or last week. I can't remember when we had our call, but it's like, used to everyone would be like, oh, you're 25, you can run off 4 hours of sleep and still function and do everything. And I was like, no, I can't. It's like, oh, it's like being told that you are supposed to be sleeping 6 to 8 hours, and like it's definitely helped. Like, I know I've not really made any like huge changes in body composition or inches or anything like that, but I feel so much better, and my mood is like 100 times more energetic and happy, and it's just been like, I don't know, ground changing of how good I just feel, and like the cravings, and how I just don't really eat when I'm not like bored or hungry or whatever. So I mean, and the sleep definitely has just made like a huge difference, because before I did the 28-day challenge with Jen, I was drinking like 500, 600 milligrams of caffeine and barely staying awake. And now I drink 1 cup of coffee in the morning, and I can I'm good to go for like all day.
Mm-hmm. Yes, success. What were we gonna say, Kristen?
Well, that's really awesome that she got so much results. I feel like I tried, sleep wise, like everything that you mentioned in your recommendations. Like, I've been really trying hard to I get plenty of sleep hours. I'll go probably 7, 8 hours on a weeknight and 12 to 15 on a weekend each. I mean, I sleep a lot, but it's not restorative like we saw.
Yeah.
Also, I'm switching my watch because I think it's psycho. It says I get steps in my sleep, so I'm like, maybe my watch just doesn't work quite right. So I'm gonna
Maybe
try
that's what it is.
and see, because like 8 minutes of deep sleep just, but I feel like it when I wake up. I'm so exhausted and like miserable, and I'm tired all the time. I'll go to CrossFit and come home, take a nap. Like, it doesn't make me energetic.
Yeah.
So I'm still struggling with sleep, but I feel like I'm trying everything.
Mhm.
And I appreciated the info about having it be dark in your room. I don't have curtains on my windows because I live out in the woods, and I don't know.
Pretty dark.
Well, just more privacy. Like, I'm not worried about it. So I started wearing the
Yeah.
sleep mask, and I don't know if that helped, but it is nice to have it dark. So I appreciated that. And the water thing, I think I realize it's a lot easier to drink that much water than it sounds like. I mentioned in my feedback form that just having the water like available in the jug on my desk, then I'll drink it really quickly, actually.
Yeah.
But if I don't have it there, then I'll grab something else. So I was able to reduce the amount of Diet Coke that I drink. My goal is 2 cans a day, which
Okay.
it's probably like to you is terrible, but
No.
but if I have the water bottle or LaCroix or something, I'll choose that over the Diet Coke. But if I don't have it available, then I grab the pop or whatever. So yeah, so I feel like the water, I don't know that I noticed a difference drinking more water, but it's still good for me.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, like a 1% change is going to change your overall direction. Like, I don't know if I brought this up before, but The book Atomic Habits. It's a really good book. It talks about changes. It talks about like creating new habits, like breaking old habits. And one of the things they talk about in there is like if a pilot flying from California to New York was to change his coordinates by even just 1 or 2 degrees, he would end up hundreds of miles from the initial intended destination. Same thing goes for your health. Like if you change things by like 1%, you are changing your overall direction of health. So, and that can go in the positive direction or the negative direction. So, if we make those 1% changes in the positive direction, then we are changing where our current trajectory is. So it doesn't have to be like huge changes, but, doing like 2 diet sodas a day versus like maybe 4 or something that maybe it was before, or maybe that was your primary source of water intake before. So things like that are going to yield long-term benefits. You might not see them today, you might not notice them today, but it is that accumulation of change.
Kitty. Sorry.
I thought of you this morning, Kristen, when I woke up and I didn't have any steps on my watch. Because we were texting yesterday because she was like, or yesterday, I can't keep my weekend straight, like day before. And I was like, I feel like Garmin has a good product, like even better than like the Fitbit. And although I looked up your ring too, that you said that you had, and I was like, oh, if my watch ever kicks the bucket, I wonder if the ring would be a good investment because it's about the same price.
But the ring just does sleep and restorative, and right, it doesn't do like,
it tracks steps, it tracks resting heart rate and respiratory rate and temperature fluctuation. So like it does, so like the cycle tracking wise, I can see when ovulation occurs based off of the change in my body temperature.
oh, okay. Would you recommend that over a Garmin or in conjunction, or because I'm shopping for something else?
I've never used the Garmin, so I don't have experience with it. I have clients that use it. I don't use a watch, period. So, as far as like checking the time, I use my phone. So if you want something that has a watch setting, I would probably suggest like the Garmin. Yeah, I mean, people use the Apple Watch, but yeah, I don't have a lot of experience with those. I don't know any other ones that check your temperature that would be kind of helpful in the sense of like following your cycle. Yeah, somebody should make something like that outside of just the ring. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to go over some of these questions. So I had a question or things that people wanted to know. So eating to boost energy and improve mental health. So this could be like a two-parted answer because there's a couple things. Like when we're working to boost energy, we want to make sure that we're consuming enough food for the activity that we're doing. So if you're living in a significant caloric deficit for a long period of time, then your body is going to work to slow you down. So you will see slumps in energy. Improving mental health, now that can go hand in hand with getting enough sleep and also getting enough food. That can also have aspects of gut health involved with it. So about 90% of our serotonin is produced within our gut. So if there are gut health issues going on, then that might hinder the amount of serotonin that is produced. Now, another thing that could mess with gut health would be hormonal birth control. That does have an effect on the gut microbiome. It does cause increased inflammation in the body. And because you're not getting progesterone because you're not ovulating, then you don't receive the benefits of progesterone to have kind of a calming effect on the brain and body. So like that question, I mean, boosting energy, that could have to do with just not eating enough overall, not sleeping well enough. So your body's just not able to kind of balance the way it needs to. Mental health, that has a lot to do with what's going on internally. That could be gut, it could be liver. So those would be places that I would focus to improve either of those things. Now, so the next question is fueling the body to gain muscle and progress in things like CrossFit. So when fueling for anything, there's like one of the things I sent you guys had to do with periodization. So periodization is a way of basically like periodizing your goals. So cycling your goals. So, we go through periods where we restore metabolism. We make sure that we have homeostasis, like optimum hormone function, optimum metabolism. And then once we're in a solid spot there, then we can go into a deficit. So we basically kind of cycle between restorative periods and cut periods, depending on what someone's goal is. If someone's goal is to continually get stronger, then we want to be at maintenance and then probably slightly above maintenance, and then even cycling through periods of restoring insulin sensitivity. So basically making sure that the body has all the building blocks it needs to create muscle mass. Because if you are in too much of a caloric deficit, you can't create muscle mass because your body doesn't have building materials. So in cases like that, if you're in a prolonged deficit, one, things will start to suffer, like sleep will suffer, energy will suffer, like workouts will suffer. But when working to create muscle mass, we want to be at maintenance, if not a little bit higher. And then, cycling through those. Let's see. I think I talked about this a little bit, but how to make time for meal prep and cooking consistently. Or maybe I think I talked about travel meals and snacks to bring along. So how to make time for meal prep and cooking consistently. So I would suggest someone use time blocking for something like this. So basically setting aside, 15, 20, 30 minutes to figure out what you want to be making. So figure out, hey, I want to make enchiladas, or, I want to make broccoli, chicken, and rice. So creating that shopping list. Now, then the second time block within your week would be something where, maybe it's an hour time block where that's your shopping time. So you've created your shopping list, you've created your meal items, and that previous 30-minute time block. Then you have an hour, maybe two, that you set aside to go grocery shopping. And then on, say, a Saturday or Sunday, same thing, time blocking another hour or two for the actual food prepping. So I would set that as a reoccurring appointment in my schedule and treat it like any other appointment that I make with any professional, and just be consistent. Just adhere to it every week. Next question was how my hormones impact me throughout the month. So I think I talked about this before, but during the first half of your cycle, as estrogen begins to rise, we see an increase in serotonin and dopamine. Blood sugars become more stable, inflammation starts to drop. So during the first half of the month, basically consider this a time when resources are moving outward. So this is a time where the body is able to handle more stressors from external sources. So high intensity is okay, like eating more carbs, like potentially, not that I'm telling you to eat more sugars, but your body is a little more tolerant to it during the first half of the cycle. During the second half of the cycle, basically ovulation to your next period, progesterone has an effect on decreasing serotonin and dopamine and causing unstable blood sugars or more of an insulin resistant type environment. So during that time, resources are turning inward. So the body basically has more inflammation, or will not tolerate things that are going to increase inflammation as well, because it's already dealing with internal inflammation of its own. So having lower intensity training, like having less carbs or specifically less sugars, during that time are going to be beneficial. So that's kind of just a brief overview of hormones. Menopause nutritional needs. So menopausal nutritional needs are very similar to luteal phase needs as far as working to manage blood sugars and manage inflammation. So when a woman transitions through menopause, basically the first thing that starts to go is ovulation. So she will start to see that she doesn't get the benefit of having progesterone throughout the month. So that'll be kind of hit and miss on ovulation. Then the next thing she'll see is wildly fluctuating estrogen levels. So that can lead to mood and hot flashes and all the fun things that we know menopause as. Perimenopause, which is the time before menopause, it can last anywhere from 2 to 12 years. So that is a long transition time. So having your hormones in a good place going into it is going to make that transition much easier. But basically, it goes from reduction of progesterone to wildly fluctuating estrogen levels to estrogen falling off, and then the potential of insulin resistance. So that means that she is going to be more sensitive to carbs, more sensitive to stressors. So it becomes very important to manage stressors, and stressors can be like blood sugar regulation, they can be alcohol intake. Like those things can all be contributing stressors to someone transitioning through perimenopause and menopause. So it is very important to manage stressors, manage inflammation when moving through that period in time. Supporting hormones to try and keep them as balanced as possible to make that transition easier is going to be important for someone transitioning through menopause. Here's a good one. How to maintain and apply good eating habits to daily life. So the 800-gram challenge is really good for helping with this, because with the 800-gram challenge, in order to get 800 grams in your day, you probably had to have some sort of fruit or vegetable with every one of your meals. You probably had to focus on getting them in your snacks as well. So that's like a tricky way of me being like, oh, I'm gonna make you eat healthy every day. So as far as like maintaining that, like you just make it a goal that every one of your meals or snacks has some sort of fruit and vegetable in it, that you are balancing them. So, you know, every meal has fruit or vegetable and some sort of protein source. That way that you are getting things that are going to increase your metabolism essentially, because they are going to increase because of the thermic effect of the food. And they're also going to provide you with more nutrients, which is going to support your goals better.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that?
Huh?
Oh, can I ask a follow-up question to that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So with fruits in particular, I've heard various opinions on like certain fruits you should avoid, or they're too much something or the other. Do you have an opinion on that? Like, you know, I've heard like bananas aren't a winner, and
I eat bananas all the time. And bananas are great right around your period because they help with water retention. They're also great before bed because they help with melatonin production. So yes, some people are like, they're like, oh, fruit's bad because it's got sugar. And I was like, that cookie you ate instead, I would much rather you eat that apple and worry about the sugar that's in that apple versus like eating a cookie because you're trying to avoid eating the fruit sugar. Like, so, you know, when it comes down to it, like, I mean, how much fruit could you eat that would be the equivalent of like a Snickers bar sugar equivalent?
Yeah. And are there certain, I could ask this separately, but I'm just kind of wondering like certain fruits that are harder on your stomach. Like I feel like apples might, I don't know. I'm just wondering.
Apples will have a little, there's something in the rind, I believe, like pectin or something that some people don't tolerate as well. They are a little bit higher in fiber. Yeah, that would be what I can think of as far as like apples. I know pineapple has bromelain, I believe it is, in it, which actually helps with digestion. Um, but if you eat too much of it, I've definitely ate too much pineapple and haven't felt so awesome afterwards. But yeah, in moderation.
Okay.
My
Thanks.
best suggestion with that. All right. Let's see. Oh, how to set yourself up for success going into the weekends. This is a fun one. So it kind of depends. Like when I am, well, if I have events like this weekend, I had a couple events where I had people that were in from out of town and we were going out to eat. So one, we planned where we were going beforehand, and then I looked up the menu, I planned what I wanted to eat there, and I built my day backwards around it. So that's generally what I do if I have some sort of event during the weekend. My boyfriend and I have been doing an elimination diet recently, so that's been fun on weekends because normally we have at least one meal that we go out to eat. Connie, your cat wanted to make an
Yeah.
appearance.
She's all about the attention.
But as far as like planning on the weekend, there's a couple ways to go about it. Like I track basically, I've tracked like every day, I'll be honest. I like doing it. It's a game for me. Sometimes I have like an untracked meal. Like if it's date night, I might just do one untracked meal. But everything that I've eaten up to that point is pretty much on point. So, consider life kind of like an 80-20. Like you can get to your goals living an 80-20, 90-10 life. And if we consider, 10% of a year is 36 and a half days. So if you're on point 90% of the time, then, in a year, that's 36 and a half days. You can pretty much blow it and still be good with getting to your goals. So, setting realistic expectations, like, knowing that, hey, I'm going to ask for dressings on the side. I'm going to ask for sauce on the side. Maybe I don't get the fries. Maybe I get the vegetables instead. Like there are little things that you can do when it comes to going out, like getting the dressing. I'll like dip my fork in the dressing versus actually like dumping it on my salad because I know I don't need a lot of flavor. So when it comes to being successful going into the weekend, one, start the day with success. Have a big glass of water. Like make sure that your breakfast has fruits and or veggies in it. Make sure that you are setting yourself up for success, really. Like have a plan. If you're going out to eat, if you have friends, if you're going out for happy hour, set like a drink limit and pre-track those drinks. Like look up the menu, pre-track what you want to eat. Go in there with a plan. And that would be kind of my biggest suggestions for being successful on the weekends. Let's see. Improving focus and energy. I think that has a lot to do with nutrition and kind of understanding where someone is currently. And if they are lacking like focus and energy, it probably has something to do with something going on lifestyle wise. Like maybe it's sleep, maybe it's not eating enough food, maybe it's not getting enough nutrients dense food in their diet, basically. Let's see. Understanding non-scale victories and how they're the gateway to progress. I think that was one that I just like put in there. So non-scale victories. So things like getting better sleep, having better energy throughout the day, having clothes fit better. I have clients that have seen no scale change, but their body composition is like night and day difference. Like going from being like puffy to almost having a six-pack. Scale did not move. So when it comes to like judging and kind of, you know, assessing victories or successes. Like the scale is not the only thing that tells you if you've been successful. So, you know, better sleep, better energy, like clothes fitting better, like performance in the gym, like PRing at the gym, like having less cravings, like having less painful periods, like those are all non-scale victories. And with internal health, like we will see external change. How to improve eating and lifestyle for less severe PMS symptoms. So a lot of PMS symptoms have to do with inflammation. So depending on what's going on in someone's body or lifestyle, that will either make inflammation better or worse. So, you know, one of the things that I do is I help with nutrition and lifestyle changes. Specifically, like I really focus on them during the luteal phase. We have a little bit more flexibility during the follicular phase, but during the luteal phase, we really want to manage inflammation and, you know, decrease the potential of those PMS symptoms, because more inflammation means more likelihood for painful periods, really. So improving that really has a lot to do with nutrient intake and kind of where someone currently is and what might need to be focused on. This is kind of similar to the going out for success, how to enjoy drinks and dining out. So I would say, you know, research the menu that you plan on, of the restaurant you plan on going to. Pick an item, pre-track it into your day, give yourself a drink limit, pre-track that into your day, and build your day backwards around it. Eating healthy with very little cooking. I love Trader Joe's for this reason, because they have so many things that are quick and easy. A couple of my favorites, they've got like a soba noodle stir fry that literally takes me like 10 minutes. Miso brown rice stir fry. I'll get the ready-made chicken breast. So basically I'm taking like 10 minutes to make the stir fry. I've already got the chicken breast. It's like ready-made meal in like 10 minutes. Squash is really good. Really like that delicata squash. I thought I made myself sick of it because we got like 8 last time we went to the grocery store. Nope, not sick of it yet. So now that we're into squash season, not the quickest, but I do microwave my spaghetti squash for like 8 minutes and it shreds out. But Trader Joe's, they generally have like mashed cauliflower, like the mashed potato substitute. I get a lot of my frozen fruit there, get a lot of my berries there. Get a lot of things there, even rice. Like they've got, it's frozen rice, or it's in the frozen section. It's like 3 minutes in the microwave. So I might do like a bag of rice, like some ready-made chicken, and steam some broccoli, throw that together. That's probably under 10 minutes worth of work there. So really, like, I guess in eating healthy with very little cooking, it has to do with like how complex do you want your meal to be? Like, if you want your meal to be more complex, it might take you longer to cook. So if you want it to be basic, like bag of rice, like steam some broccoli, like get some ready-made chicken, you're done. Like that's, you know, an easy thing to even, you know, keep in the freezer and, you know, have the ready-made chicken, freeze it, defrost it when you're ready for it, or a day or two beforehand. And yeah, just keep the rice, keep the mashed potatoes or cauliflower mashed. Like those things are all simple. So those are pretty much staples in my freezer. Let's see. Macro-friendly recipes. So in MyFitnessPal, if you guys actually go into the more section, there are actually recipes in there and they do have macros attached to them. There is another place, I think it's called the Meal Prep Manual, and it's online. I think it's like mealprepmanual.com or something. And they too will have menu items, and there's macros attached to those. And then protein while traveling, I think I covered that earlier, but basically, like, protein powders, I will bring like single serving like tuna bags, like protein bars, like those are all things that you can bring with you. Otherwise, when you are traveling, go to grocery stores instead of like restaurants, and going to the deli and getting, deli meat or ready-made chicken breast, and then going to the produce, getting like a bag of salad, and mix it all in there, throw it all in there, shake the bag around, and you've got like a quick, easy, on the go salad. All right. So those were the questions that I got from the intake forms. Does anybody have any follow-up questions on any of the stuff that I went over? No? Okay.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't get unmuted fast enough. I don't have I was thinking, as you were talking though, not a follow-up question, but do you have any opinion on like fasting or like intermittent fasting, and like if it's beneficial or not?
So for women, I wouldn't recommend women do it more than 14 hours, because
Okay.
it's kind of like skipping meals. So doing it here and there, okay, but the body does recognize stressors. So if you're doing, a fast for 16, 20 hours, like your body's like, hey, like I'm in a stress state. Like that's going to cause blood sugars to dysregulate if you do it long periods of time. So yeah, I mean, you can. I normally like to have 12 hours between my last meal and my first meal. I mean, technically, as humans, we intermittent fast every day that we sleep.
Or
So
sleep, yeah.
it's just, I really think intermittent fasting is just like, how long can I starve myself for? So, from the standpoint of stress, I wouldn't recommend women do it longer than like 14 hours.
Gotcha.
Anybody else? Any questions, comments, concerns, jokes?
You were talking about energy and like throughout the day and nutrition. I've also found that if I'm under a lot of stress, like whether it be with work or school or just trying to do all things at one time, burn the candle at both ends, that can really drain me. That can really, it definitely impacts my sleep, and it impacts my workouts. And most time, if I'm too stressed, I'd skip the gym because I need more sleep.
Yeah.
But it doesn't happen. But so for me, it's like identifying your stressors and figuring out how to de-stress yourself from those stress.
Exactly. Like with stress, it's all about the scale. Like if you are, under more stress because of not sleeping, like going to the gym might not be the most beneficial thing on that day, because you're just going to increase the stress. Like we want those scales to be as balanced as possible. So if you're having a stressor come in, we need to figure out like, oh, okay, maybe we're going to do an extra self-care thing instead. And, if stress is interfering with sleep, because that's what cortisol does, it's, going to block melatonin from binding. So if your stressors are high and you're not getting restorative sleep, then that's also going to pull you further down that hole of stress, basically.
Because I've definitely found, like, when I'm having to get crunched time with homework, or if I'm overwhelmed with my classes because I don't know what the teacher's talking about, I'll skip the gym and spend an extra 2 hours studying the material or creating a list of what I can do to help organize my thoughts on paper, and that tends to help my mental state in the long run.
Yeah, and even like going out for walks would be good too.
Yeah, I just want to throw that in there.
Yeah, perfect. Anybody else with anything?
So
Everybody enjoy the 21-day challenge?
yeah,
Good.
it's a good
Perfect.
motivator.
Good.
Are you going to be contacting us about like how your client, you mentioned clients, but I guess I don't really know like what services you all offer and
Yeah. So if you schedule a call, we can talk about like nutrition coaching and what that looks like.
Okay.
Anybody else? I noticed everyone was like doing their laundry.
sorry, I got to multitask.
I was like, oh, I got a pile of that upstairs. That's gonna be my evening.
I'm more motivated to do it while I'm listening to something. So
Perfect.
I'd reduce those stressors, right? Laundry is one of them.
Exactly. The pile of laundry stressor. Yes.
Any tips on how to deal with the in-laws when they're coming to stay at your house for the next week?
No. Good luck. I will pray for you.
I got special permission. I got special permission to work from the office this week.
Perfect. Yes.
I was like, I can't like have my in-laws here, and then of course they want my toddler here because they're coming to see her, and and then my other daughter he'll be at school during the day. But I was like, I can't do it.
No. Yeah.
It's like, please, can I have permission to work from the office?
Either that or make Starbucks your office for the week.
Yeah. Come over here.
I know. I thought about that, and that's why I was like, Starbucks for like 8 hours a day, like for 4. I think it'll be like 4 days. I was like, oh, so
Yeah.
and then I was like, I would drink a lot of coffee and have a lot of their yummy snacks that they have there.
And go home smelling like coffee.
Exactly. Yeah, you do. You do. It like sits in your clothes. It's so funny. Yep. Awesome. Well, thanks for everything.
Absolutely. Good luck with the in-laws. I mean, I'll talk to you tomorrow, so we can talk.
Yeah, you'll see me tomorrow.
I really appreciate everything
good.
you've done for us and all of your time and expertise. And yeah, I think you're pretty awesome. I'm a fangirl.
Oh, thank you. Well, yeah.
And the prizes.
Yeah, absolutely. I bought your love.
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Well, I mean, you guys did awesome, and I'm so glad you enjoyed it. And yeah, we'll touch base soon, and enjoy the rest of your weekend and get all your laundry folded.
Yeah.
And yeah, we'll talk soon.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.